Everyone told me I'd never want to leave Vietnam. They were wrong, and I need to tell you why before you make the same mistake. If you've watched any retirement abroad content, you've seen the highlight reel. $1 pho, motorbikes weaving through golden sunsets, a beachfront apartment for $400 a month. And honestly, that part is real. Vietnam genuinely is one of the most affordable places on earth to retire. But nobody tells you what happens after the honeymoon phase ends, after month 6, month 9, month 12, when the excitement wears off and you're left with the actual unglamorous reality of building a life somewhere you don't fully belong yet. I'm not here to tell you Vietnam is a scam or that you shouldn't move here. I'm here to tell you the truth I wish someone had told me, the 5 things that turned my dream retirement into something I genuinely regret. Let's get into it. Regret number 1. The visa treadmill never stops. The first thing nobody prepares you for? Vietnam still doesn't have a dedicated retirement visa. Not in 2026, not yet anyway. So instead of settling in with peace of mind, most retirees, including me, end up on a 90-day e-visa, which means every 3 months you either renew or physically leave the country on a visa run to Bangkok or Kuala Lumpur. At first, it sounds like a fun excuse to travel. It is not. It's an $800 to $1,200 a year logistics chore that hangs over your calendar permanently. You can't fully unpack your life when part of you is always thinking about the next border run. I eventually looked into the investor visa route, depositing roughly $120,000 into a Vietnamese company to get a longer-term DT4 visa. But that's a massive commitment most retirees simply can't or won't make. So I stayed on the treadmill, and a year in, it hasn't stopped. Regret number 2, the budget that quietly doubled. Here's the number everyone quotes. Retire in Vietnam for $1,000 to $2,000 a month. And technically, that's accurate. But here's what actually happened to my budget. Electricity in an AC-heavy apartment can hit $100 to $150 a month once you're actually living here full-time, not just visiting. Proper international health insurance, the kind you actually want as a retiree, runs $800 to $1,500 a year. Add visa runs, and suddenly you're not looking at $1,000 a month anymore. This is what I now call lifestyle creep, and it's brutal. I budgeted $1,500 a month when I arrived. Within a year, I was regularly spending closer to $2,800 to $3,000. Not because I was reckless, because comfort has a price, and every small upgrade, better AC, better insurance, better apartment, adds up fast. Regret number 3. Healthcare anxiety I didn't expect. Private healthcare in the major cities is genuinely good. Hospitals like FV in Ho Chi Minh City meet international standards with English-speaking doctors. That part isn't the problem. The problem is the constant background anxiety of being far from your home healthcare system. A basic consultation costs $30 to $60, which sounds fine, until you actually get sick. Or worse, until a parent back home gets sick and you realize how far away you really are. Insurance without pre-existing condition coverage means one bad diagnosis could still cost tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket. That fear doesn't show up in the glossy retirement videos. It shows up at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep. Regret number 4. The loneliness nobody talks about. This is the one that actually surprised me the most. Da Nang and Ho Chi Minh City have real established expat communities. That part is true. But established doesn't mean deep. A lot of expat friendships here are transient. People cycling in and out every few months, chasing the next cheap destination. I found myself rebuilding my social circle every few months, right as I'd start actually feeling close to someone. And without fluent Vietnamese, there's a ceiling on how deeply you can integrate into local life, no matter how welcoming people are. I underestimated how much that isolation would wear on me, not because Vietnam isn't beautiful, but because retirement isn't just about scenery. It's about belonging somewhere. And a year in, I still felt like a guest in my own life. The little things start adding up. After a few months, everyday life became everyday life. The excitement of discovering a new place slowly gave way to routines. That's when I started noticing the things I'd overlooked. Crossing busy streets wasn't just an adventure anymore. It became part of my daily routine. Simple tasks sometimes took longer than expected because of language differences. Finding specific imported products I was used to wasn't always easy, and when I did find them, they were often expensive. Then came the little monthly expenses, visa-related costs, private health insurance, unexpected repairs, transportation. Nothing individually was overwhelming, but together they reminded me that no country is completely free of financial surprises. The things I still love. Despite the challenges, there were many reasons I stayed. Vietnamese coffee became part of my morning ritual, fresh fruit from local markets, weekend trips to the coast, friendly conversations with local shop owners, even when our vocabulary was limited. Healthcare, especially private care in major cities, was often more affordable than I expected. The food, still among my favorites anywhere in the world. I discovered that the things making life meaningful weren't always the things I'd moved there for. The big lesson. One day, another retiree asked me a simple question. If you could go back, would you still move to Vietnam? I didn't answer immediately, because the truth wasn't simple. Did I regret every moment? No. Did I regret having unrealistic expectations? Absolutely. I expected paradise. What I found instead was real life, with wonderful experiences and genuine challenges. The mistake wasn't moving. The mistake was believing every online video that made retirement abroad look effortless. Every country has trade-offs. Vietnam is no exception. Who should retire in Vietnam? If you're flexible, curious about another culture, comfortable adapting, patient with occasional bureaucracy, and excited to explore a different way of life, Vietnam can be an incredible place to retire. But if you're looking for everything to work exactly as it does back home, you may struggle. The happiest expats aren't always the wealthiest. They're usually the ones willing to adapt. What I'd tell my past self. If I could go back, I wouldn't tell myself not to move to Vietnam. I'd tell myself to budget for $2,500 to $3,000 a month, not $1,000. I'd tell myself to seriously research the investor visa before arriving instead of living reactively on 90-day cycles. I'd tell myself to learn basic Vietnamese before the move, not after. And I'd tell myself that no amount of $1 pho solves loneliness. That's a problem money can't solve, no matter how cheap the country is.